Hello dear YouTuber friends, and I hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to this new video. Now your eyes do not deceive you, this is another Flight Sim 2024 video. Whilst I'm in the alpha program, we get a couple of days to test. I took advantage. I did a recent YouTube community poll asking what controllers would you like me to set up first in Flight Sim 2024. The Velocity 1 flight controllers were massively popular, something like 100% more than the next votes. So I've gone and done that. I'm actually going to do that with you in this video. I'm going to set up the Velocity 1 flight yoke from scratch. We have no choice in the alpha. When Flight Sim 2024 releases, you should have default profiles for the Velocity 1 flight yoke. Probably honeycomb, Velocity 1 flight stick. At the moment we don't, so I'm going to set it up from scratch. Even if there are profiles, perhaps you can take hints from this video for setting up your Velocity 1 flight yoke controller. So let's not dilly-dally, let's get on with this video. Okay, so we're set up in our Cessna 172 at Charles de Gaulle Airport. I've got nothing bound, I'm using my mouse to look around at the moment. We'll soon fix that. What we do, we go to escape, pretty similar to Flight Sim 2020 in that respect. But to get to your settings options, you've got a settings cog up here, top right. Click on that. And go to controls, so settings will be here, but go to controls, it's all under one thing now. Instead of having separate boxes, you've got your general options, assistant, accessibility. Go to controls. And now, it doesn't show a picture, it probably will when Flight Sim 2024 releases, I imagine. The yoke part is called, well, it's top one, that's the yoke, that's the throttle. On Xbox it'll come under one box, but on PC the yoke is separate from the throttle with the Velocity 1 flight yoke. So that's the yoke part with all the buttons, that's the throttle quadrant with all the buttons. Let's set up some primary flight controls first. We better get things like, well, let's go to our yoke. And we'll set up our flight control services. So clicking, did I go too fast and I want this to be up for newbies? You'll get categories down here, you can mouse down, use your gamepad if you don't have a mouse for whatever reason. You really should, whether you're on Xbox or PC at the moment. I can't see this changing much, you just mouse up and down to get to the right category once you have your controls selected. So you got mouse, keyboard, yoke, part of the Velocity 1 flight, throttle, and that's my Velocity 1 rudders. I won't be using them in this video, I've just got them connected. On this first one, you want to go to flight control services, primary, what's all that shadow moving around, that's interesting, isn't it? Primary flight control services, and we want to find our aileron and elevator axis. So primary flight control services, it's at the bottom of this menu. Elevator is your push-pull, so pull your yoke backwards and push it forward. I'll click in this box, now pull my yoke back. That's set. Aileron axis, left and right movement of your yoke. Click in the box, move my yoke left, and there you go, that's set up. We can quickly go and test that. Just go back, and if I get into my aircraft, just pressing the end. Oh, how do I get into my aircraft? Backspace. I'll move my yoke left and right. Now you see that movement? That's because in the alpha I'm testing at the moment, you have to restart the flight so it all behaves properly. But I can see it's working left, right, up, down. I've got triggers on the Velocity 1 flight yoke. Yes, let's set them up as my rudders. So again, press escape. That'll be your big Xbox button on your controller, more I expect, when it comes out for Xbox. Go to your settings option. Again, make sure If you're on PC, this top one is selected. If you're on Xbox, it will come under one unit. Click on that for the PC, so that's my yoke unit. Flight control services. Primary flight control services, again, click in there. And rudder axis. Now the triggers act as an axis on the Velocity 1 flight, so if I click in this box, click one of the triggers, that's now my rudders set up. Press escape, save and back, so that will save what we got set up. Resume. Move my triggers, left and right, left and right, that's fine. How about some power? We need throttle and we need mixture. On the Velocity 1 flight, let's first go to options and then press the options cog up here. On the Velocity 1, I'll show you a picture on the right there. I'm using the push-pull triggers. If you want to use the levers above that, just set them the same way, but I'm going to use my push-pull triggers for this. So for this one, I need to scroll down and find power management. So I'm on the second one for PC, that's the throttle quadrant, remember that, power management, it's here. Click in the box, throttle, we want to bind here throttle 1 axis. So I'm going to click in the box here and move my throttle, push pull. Oh, sometimes it will say cancel if you're not quick enough, let's try that again. There you go. I've set that axis up. And mixture. Now mixture should be above. I can close that throttle 1. Mixture should be here. And I want to show you something here because this is what you'll find as well. This should be with the gold when it releases for real. Flight Sim 2020. But let's just set this one up first. Mixture 1 axis. Should be there. It might be mixture axis 0 to 100. Mixture axis. I think with this one, from memory, it's this one here, mixture axis 0 to 100, mixture axis 0 to 100 here. So click in the box. Going to move my mixture knob. There we go. Watch what happens now. I'm going to go back. Click save and back so it'll save those controls, and then click resume. Watch what happens. I'll push my mixture in. It's actually reversed. If I push my throttle in, bear with me there, control, actually let me just put my mixture back in so when I start the engine, something's gone on with, did I not, this may be a feature with the alpha, this should be hopefully better configured when this flight sim releases. Pretty sure of my throttle, let me just make sure, throttle 1 axis I did. Now why didn't that move? I'm going to test something again, just going to move that axis again. Go back, save, back. I'll keep my mixture where it is. Sometimes you have to restart the flight in alpha at least for this to behave properly. It is behaving properly, but as you can see I'm pushing my mixture in and it's pulling back in the sim, so I need to reverse those axes. How do we do that? You can go to settings here in fact, or the cog, whichever's more useful for you. Click on that again. Down here I'm going to go to filters, click this so it says assigned, which is there. So these are the two I've got assigned. If you click in this cog, so it's a settings cog next to the axis, you can click on set inverted axis, which will reverse it, which will make it right in this case. So set inverted axis there. Mixture, same again. Back, save and back, back. Now, in this case I'm going to have to put my mixture in, which is correct. Controller needs just to start this poor aircraft up again. It's probably not happy with me at the moment. If I move my throttle backwards and forwards, it's now working. It's a bit jerky as you can see, so what I suggest, if you're using alpha, again this shouldn't happen when the sim goes golden, but you never know, just restart the flight. So there we go, we can wait for this. It shouldn't take a moment, it's pretty quick generally. Indeed.
Gull Tower ASXGS ready at runway 08L south departure.
Right, just wait for the ATC nonsense to stop, and that's fine. So there we go. Now if I do it, if I move my yoke left and right, you can see that's now nice and smooth backwards and forwards, so I'm not getting those jerky moments. Sometimes with the alpha you just have to restart it to make it take effect, basically. So there we go. Pull my throttle in, it's nice and smooth. Pull my mixture out a bit. That is, you can see that's working. If you got propeller, you do the same thing for that. I'm not going to set up propeller in this aircraft. In fact, to be complete, because people may refer to this, I will set up propeller. So again, PC, click the bottom one, that's your throttle quadrant. Flight control services. Have I gone past it? Power management, rather. Propeller axis 1, I believe. Yep, that's fine. It's all named differently, isn't it? Right, let's just click in propeller axis 1 again. I think if you move the mouse sometimes that can cancel it. There you go. So that's set up. I'll click in this cog next to it to invert that axis, so whenever I need to use propeller it should behave correctly with my push-pull levers. And that is all correct. So there you go. We've got some. Let's just resume. Quickly test them again. Yeah, throttle's working, triggers are working. Those are lovely triggers, I've got to say, on the Velocity 1 flight. I always enjoy using them. Throttle and mixture's working. Let's move on. And okay, continuing, I want to set up some controls so I can go external, internal, look around the cockpit, that type of thing, or shenanigans. We love that word, don't we? So press escape again. Just go to settings here. I think that's clearer for people, isn't it? Controls. Now I'm going to go to my yoke part on PC. Again, that's the yoke. That's the throttle quadrant. And I'm going to scroll down to, in this case, camera. Just keep scrolling down on these different options until you see camera. And let's do cockpit camera first, shall we? I want quick view left and right. With my left hat switch on my yoke. Picture there, of course. Quick view left. So I'm going to click in the box and go quick view left. Now you can do this smoothly. You can look left, look right, look down, up. So cockpit, look left. If you want smooth, to look around your cockpit smoothly, I'll link videos that I've done down before. You just go cockpit, look left, look right, look up, look down. I like the quick views personally, but this is preference. Quick view, look right. Yeah, click that button again, look right. Now, I want previous and next pilot views. Keep going down till you get past the cockpit parts. And a little bit later you should see previous. There you go. Previous and next pilot position. I'm going to go next pilot position, push that hat switch up. Previous, push it down. Now, there's a bit of a caveat with this, at the moment at least, the way it works. I'm going to move my hat switch left. Oop, look right. Look up. And it'll take me to the next pilot position. If I look down, it doesn't no longer take me to my instrument views. There's a way of fixing that. Better show you something else before I do that. If you press escape again, go to settings, in general options under camera, when you've got quick view option, this will be on hold. Just move it so it says toggle, otherwise you'll have to hold it to stay in that position. So quick view, put this on toggle for that to work the way I've just showed you. What am I looking for again? Oh yes, instrument views. I'm going to have to press a button. Now let's go to controls, make sure I've got the right part selected, that's the yoke part. I'm going to try and slow down a little bit, people, because I know that people want to copy these, and if I go too fast you're lost. Go to camera, and it's actually instrument views you want to go in now. And in fact, if you can find toggle instrument view 1, and press a button. I'll show you what button I'm going to set up. It's on the front of the yoke. And it's a button I've got highlighted. So I'm going to click on that and you'll see what this does. and click that button. I also want next and previous instrument views. So previous instrument views, going to use the same hat switch. Once you're down in the instruments, it won't affect anything else. Keep that in mind. So previous instrument view, I can go, click on that, move that hat switch to the right. Oh no, sorry. Previous, I want that to the left. Hat switch to the left. And next, hat switch to the right. Now, hope that's not gone too fast for you. So select a button, whatever button you want for toggle instrument view 1. That'll put you down into instruments. These will scroll you through your instruments. Let's go and do that. Let's go back. So I'm going to select that button. It puts me down to my instruments. Let's move that mouse. It's a bit distracting. Move that hat switch right. It'll take me between my G1000s. Just go next instrument view to get back to where you were. There you go, default view. I want a button, in fact, to reset my cockpit camera. So, gonna go to settings again. On the yoke part again. And we'll go to, oh, let's just see. Where is it? Camera. Cockpit camera should be at the bottom, is it, for this one? Never remember, or is it at the top? You know what? Wherever it is, just type in the search bar, have a keyboard handy, reset, cockpit, view. Now I'm going to select a button for that. I'll show you the button. It's on the right hand handle on my Velocity 1 flight yoke. I'm going to choose that button. Click on that and start scanning. And it's up to you. If you don't want that button assigned, you can just assign any button. I think that some of those hat switches are clickable in. But if I go back, save, back, and I press that button now, there you go, it's all fine and dandy. How about external, internal? Let's show you that part. Let me know if I'm going too fast. You can't, but I'll go to settings again. Controls. This time I want it on because it's where I'm used to it on my Velocity 1 flight yoke, on my throttle quadrant. Let's just see, it'll be under camera again, so I'm scrolling down to camera, and you want to find camera mode switches, which is here. So it's under the camera menu, camera mode switches, cockpit external view mode toggle, essentially. So I'm going to click that and then click a button. I'll show you on my throttle quadrant where that will be. And that's right. Whilst I'm here, external camera, I'm going to use my other hat switch on the right handle to look around freely in external mode. So you want to find these: external view, look down, look left, look right, look up. You don't worry about look up right, look up left. You can set them, but there's no need to, I found. So, external view, look down. Let's see if I can do this. So I've got my yoke at a very funny angle to me. Oh, it's on, sorry, I've got to select my yoke part. Even if you select between different controls you've got set up, it will stay in the menu you just previously selected. So I'm on my yoke now. So external view, look down, move that hat switch down. External view, look left, move it left. External view, look right. And external view, look up, move it up. Pretty straightforward, and I've shown that in other videos. So you're in camera menu, external mode. And that should be about all I need to set up in instruments. Let's just give that a test. So I'm going to press the button for external mode, toggle between external and cockpit. Move that hat switch around. Oh, it's a lovely feeling. Very, very smooth in Flight Sim 2024, I've got to say. Reminds me of the days of Flight Sim X. Lovely. Press that button again to get into my cockpit. Press the button to get into my instruments. Let's move between the instruments. There we go, my G1000s. Press the button to reset my cockpit camera. Bob's your uncle. That's all I'm going to set up for views. You can go wild. Like I said, you can set buttons so you can use your hat switch instead. I've got it quick views. but you can set it up so you can use your hat switch to look around smoothly. I just prefer the quick views internally and smooth views outside. That is very, very nice, I've got to say. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so continuing, this is where the fun begins now, isn't it? Autopilot. Velocity 1 flight is just well known for its autopilot settings and bindings you can set up. You don't need any other controller, in my opinion. It's why it's such excellent value. It's why I still hold it in high esteem. Now, I'm going to use mainly autopilot functions on my throttle quadrant, which is the second option here on PC. Make sure that's selected. And I'm just going to type in autopilot. Well, actually I can go down the menu here. Just want to show you something. Autopilot. It's a bit more filled out than the previous one, isn't it? Maybe you've got different things like airspeed, altitude. Some of these will be quite useful, in fact. Autopilot, approach, you know, you've got all kinds of things, heading, auto throttle. I just want to type in here though in the menu, auto, because it's going to help me. Oh, I'm going to type in toggle, in fact. Toggle auto will do. And we should find toggle autopilot master. Hopefully there it is. Now I'm going to set up, I'll show you on my velocity 1 throttle quadrant, a button for that. That's where I'm used to having it. So click on that and then click on the button. Might as well, whilst we're here, toggle autopilot heading hold. Is it here? Maybe it's not there. So let's just click out of there. We'll go to autopilot again because I did see a heading for heading, as it were. Toggle autopilot heading hold. It's a button next to it. I'll show you on screen that I'm going to set up. Click the button. There you go. That's all set. And for the last one, we want autopilot nav 1 hold. Just type in here autopilot nav 1. And you want this one here to set this up. This is going to act as your nav. So when you press this, you're going to be following your GPS or course. Click on the button. I'll show you on screen which one I want. So click in the box, click on the button, and that's set up. To show what you do have set up, we can click out of that just so there's nothing showing there. It's got filters assigned. You can see we got our propeller and throttle set up, our cockpit external mode, and our autopilot buttons that we've just set up there. Isn't that fantastic? We're not quite finished there yet, but let's just test these. Let's jump inside the aircraft using the button I set up before. Go to my instrument views. I'm going to click on the autopilot master, heading, that works, and nav. Obviously GPS is in white because we're not on our course. Click off the heading, click off autopilot. In fact, it's got a nice noise now, hasn't it? Shall we continue? I want to set up a couple more things. I'm not going to go wild with this one this time, just to give you some kind of ideas, but this should be enough. Go to settings. I want, again, select, in this case, I'm going to select my yoke, because that's where I want this one set up. And I'm going to go down to the autopilot. And again, heading, this is where this menu now becomes interesting. So go to heading. Oh no, it's not. Okay. I thought it might be there. It's not. It's going to be in a separate menu. My fault. Don't listen to Hudson at this point. Just type in autopilot increase. In fact, shall we not type that in? We'll type in increase autopilot. And I want to increase my autopilot reference altitude and decrease my autopilot reference. First, increase it. Decrease autopilot reference altitude. I'll show you why I want it. I've got another hat switch. It's hat 1 on my left handle. going to click in the box, move that hat up. Let's try that again. Move. Why is it going cancelled? Click in the box. It's a bit finicky. If you move the mouse while do that, it cancels it, but never mind. And we can just say decrease. Oops. Autopilot. There you go. So decrease autopilot reference altitude. Click in the box again and move that hat down. And I'll show you what this does. I'm sure you've already guessed. Go back. If I move that hat up, it's going to increase the autopilot altitude I want my autopilot to climb to. If I move it down, it will put it down again. So whatever altitude I want, we'll put it on 1,200. Why not? I will keep it there because I'm going to play with that later. Couple more things I want to set up. If my voice fails, do forgive me. I'm recording a lot of videos while I've got a chance in this alpha. So controls again, and I'm going to go back to my yoke system again. This time I want heading bug increase heading. Just typing in a box there, so I want to increase my heading bug. I'm going to use that same hat switch but move it to the right to increase. And you probably guessed it this time, decrease heading. Decrease heading. Decrease heading bug. Move that to the left. And if we go back again, it'll go back and save those controls. Resume. Now, if I move that hat switch to the right, there you go, it's increasing the heading bug. Watch this blue heading bug. So if I got it in heading hold, that would be very useful indeed. I've got my nav, I've got my autopilot, I've got heading set up. You could do vertical speed. I'll link a video that I did for Flight Sim 2020 if you want to know where those controls are. It'll be the same controls just in a different place in Flight Sim 2020. Or it will look slightly differently. Let's just sync that with our heading bug. Almost finished, just a few more controls to set up. Okay, so just a few more controls. Let's do the brakes, shall we? So, escape again, settings. And I'm going to use for my brakes this one. I'm going to set one on my throttle quadrant. Let's do that. So I've got that selected. That's the throttle quadrant on PC. Remember that. Brakes. Parking brake. And I've got a button, I'll show you on my throttle quadrant, the one that I normally set up for parking brakes. Toggle parking brakes. Click in the box. And press the button, whichever button you prefer and that makes sense to you. I also want, I'm going to select my throttle quadrant, it will stay in that menu. I also want brakes generally to be on a button on my left handle. Now I'm using my toe brakes on my Velocity 1 rudders. If you don't have rudder pedals, I find that button quite handy. It's quite instinctive to go to for brakes. So I'm going to click in that box brakes, click and start scanning, and there we go. Go back, save, just to always test these now. So click the button for parking brake. Let's just remove the yoke. You'll see the parking brake down here. Perfect. Click the button for brakes. Well, if I was moving, and in fact, increase that throttle a bit. It's good to test it. There you go, that's working on the brakes. Decrease that throttle, set the parking brake. That's that. Okay, let's reset my camera view. The only one other thing I'm going to set up here now are flaps. And then we'll go for a test flight. Isn't this exciting? I've tried this. I've shut down the alpha and these controls have remained. They did last time. Because it's alpha, sometimes they'll disappear. And yeah, I can't promise whether they'll stay or disappear in alpha. When it goes golden on Xbox and PC, once you've set up your controls, it should stay. I'm going to select my yoke, which is the top one on PC, and I'm just going to type in increase flaps. In fact, I'm just going to type in, oh, you know what I'm going to do? Flight control services, secondary control services. There you go. That's better. What you want to do here is increase and decrease flaps. If you extend them, they'll go all the way down. If you retract them, they'll go all the way up. So just keep in mind, if you want to do it in increments, this is the way you'll do it. I'll show you what I want. It's my right hand hat switch, hat 2. Increase flaps, just going to move that hat switch down. Decrease flaps, going to move it up. Go back. Save. Back. We're in the cockpit. Just move my view down slowly. You can see my flaps down here. Move that hat up. It'll take my flaps up. Because they were in stage 1 flaps, weren't they? There we go. Seems to be default now in the Cessna 172, at least with Flight Sim 2024. As you can see, if I just move it up and down, it's increasing and decreasing it in increments. Very, very useful. And there you go, people. That's all our controls set up now. Shall we go for a flight test? Let's do it. Okay, so let's go for a test flight now. Before I did this, I restarted my flight. Probably won't have to do it when it goes golden, but do it if you mess with settings, because sometimes they play around. What I want to show you here before I go up for a flight, I'll get on to my yoke parts. I've set up some trim buttons. I think this will only affect alpha. I don't think you need to worry about this when it goes golden, Flight Sim 2024. I've got buttons set up. I'll show you where they are, A and B, on the front of my yoke. For trim nose down, A, trim nose up, B. That's because if we switch this now to the throttle quadrant, the elevator trim axis, if I move my trim wheel, it no longer works with the alpha. I can't see this happening. I think you're going to get default settings with Flight Sim 2024. For some reason with the alpha, so I can click on any of these, the trim wheel is not working. It's not working for me anyway. Unless I've changed some things, somebody can correct me. Doesn't matter anyway. Just if the trim wheel's working for you, that's fine. You're good and dandy. For me, I've just got buttons set up because you will need trim. Okay, resume. Come down to my autopilot panel here. My left G1000. Just going to move that flaps up. Don't need flaps. Set an autopilot altitude for 1200 feet with the buttons we set up before. Hat 1, 1300 feet will do it in fact. Move my heading bug with the same hat switch towards that magenta line. When we take off and I put it into heading mode, it means it's going to go some way towards the magenta line to lock onto our course. That's all we need to worry about. Increase the throttle. Release the parking brake. Now there's plenty of torque with Flight Sim 2024 from testing, at least with the alpha. It's a bit of a different beast now to take off. You're going to have fun with this one. And you can easily tip the aircraft from side to side if you're not careful. I did that on purpose just to show you the effect. Of course I did. Okay. I'm just going to trim down a wee bit because it's going to go skywards, so I'm just using the trim buttons I've got set up. That's fine. I'm going to take a feel of my controls. Left and right ailerons, they feel fine. Elevator, that's a bit too sudden for me. I need some sensitivity put in there, so how do we do that in Flight Sim 2024? Press escape, go to settings. Click on your yoke part. If you're on PC, it'll just be one box for Xbox again. And then click on hardware settings. Now your axis. If you want to find out what your axis are, let's go back. And let's go to filters assigned. Elevator axis is Y. Aileron axis is X. It's the Y I want to affect there. So click on Y. I'm going to move my sensitivities down. It's too sensitive for me. So I'm going to try both of them. Plus and minus. Minus 25. Or minus 0.25%. That is essentially. You can put a bit of a dead zone in there. Why not? That will do. Go back, save, back. Ideally you should restart the flight now in Alpha. You shouldn't need to do that in... That's better. That's a better elevator access. That's nice and smooth for me now. What's my aircraft doing? Let's just get it back to normal view. Bring out that throttle a bit. Don't need to go all Speedy Gonzales. Trim back up. Oh, shush. Okay, it's time for some autopilot action, isn't it? Press the button I've got for Autopilot Master. Put it into heading hold. So it should bring us to the right. I didn't set up a vertical speed value, so I'm just going to do this on the G1000 itself. There you go, just so we're climbing. Heading! I need to come to the right, don't I? The magenta line's now gone the other way, so just bring that heading bug to the right there, which I have done. Bring you down to that view just to show you it's all working fine. Bring it more to the right. There's lots of turbulence and camera shake settings which I've not turned on. Doesn't the sky look fantastic? Let's get into external mode. Try our hat switch. Oh yeah, very, very smooth with Flight Sim 2024. Fantastic livery on this aircraft. I really dig it, in fact. Well done, Selbo, for that. Get back in the cockpit, see what's happening. Put it into nav mode. There you go, GPS has gone green. Bring you down to that view. GPS is green, so it means we're locked onto our course. We are now flying towards Olay. Isn't that fantastic? Let's take autopilot off. I just want to test the elevator. Oh yeah, that's got it for me. Now this is on PC, it might be different for Xbox. There we go, and I might do another video on Flight Sim 2024 releases, we'll see, but this should get you up and running. I might just add to it, in fact, what I've done here. So point into this one, unless things are very different, which they shouldn't be. Hopefully the trim wheel will be working when it goes golden. It's just Alpha, you've got to expect these little things to happen in Alpha. Put it back into GPS mode. And we've got a slight climb. And we're on our way. So there you go, people. We've also got a jump start on that, setting up the Velocity 1 flight from scratch in Flight Sim 2024. If things changes, you should get default profiles, but you can copy one or two of those settings if you want things like nav mode, setting up your hat switches for heading bug, and autopilot selected altitude, and you can do so much more. Listen, do let me know your thoughts on this. Give the video a like if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe for more. Flight Sim 2024 just around the corner. And I'll see you soon.